Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College Application and Website Development Program, or AWD, and in particular the AWD1111 .NET Framework with Web Databases class, I've been going over this 12-part series from DotNetOdyessy.com. It is entitled ASP.NET MVC5 Free Course. So far I've gone through lessons or chapters 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 and 8. And as you can guess, that brings me to chapter 9. And chapter 9, as you can see, says in this chapter we discuss the data requirements for the application and the use of the entity framework with ASP.NET MVC. It's not really a particularly long chapter, so let's get into it. In our application, we're going to save information about movies and actors who have acted in said movies. We can think of using two tables to do this. One that will store movie information, and it pretty much is what we had before. All right. We've got the movie name, and we've got the year. All right. We don't have this ranking system that we had before, but we have an ID field. All right. And then we also have an actor. We also have an actor table. And each actor, now typically if you did this, you probably wouldn't put this in as one field called name. You'd probably have a first name and a last name. Why? Because some people could mistakenly either put last name first or first name last, however. All right. So it says, how about the relationship between tables? A movie can have many actors. An actor can have or act in many movies. So we have a many-to-many relationship between both of these tables. That's not the nirvana of databases. What you really would rather have in a database is a one-to-many relationship. All right? As it says, there is a small problem here. What if I want to have the actor's role information? For example, Brad Smith played the role of General Manager Billy Bean in Moneyball, but in Ocean's 13 he played Rusty Ryan. So it says, how can we save this role information? You can't really save it in the actor table. You can't really save it in the movie table. But if you look at it, we could make a new table called movie actor or something like that and put the primary keys of both fields in there. We're going to call this role. A movie can have many roles and an actor can play multiple roles. But notice, everyone, there's now a one-to-many relationship between movie and role and between actor and role. That's, again, what we're always shooting for in this. All right, it says, enough theory. Let's fire up Visual Studio and code our model classes. Notice classes, plural. We will have probably 3 of them. All right. So we want to right-click on our model folder of our solution, choose Add New Item. We're going to use the entity framework code first, so we'll define a class for each entity. So it says we'll define the following classes in model.cs, and I've deleted the code. So we're putting all 3 classes in the same file. Not exactly the way I do it, but that's the way they're doing it. We're going to follow their lead here. So I'm going to right mouse click. Let me close my views and my app start. I'm going to right mouse click on models, choose add, go down to class, and again the name they used here was model.cs. All right. We may have a problem with these non-breaking spaces. We'll see as we get into that. All right. Okay, there we've got that. Don't think we're going to really need this model class. I could be wrong, so I'll leave it in there. All right. Like I said, I thought we might have problems with these non-breaking spaces. I want to clean this up. I hate the way that they do this, although I like the blank spaces there, and we're going to be going over that in the next lesson, why that's helpful. In fact, for now, let's get rid of the blank spaces even between there. We're going to add them back in the next chapter. You'll see, hopefully, what I'm doing and why I'm doing it at that time. All right, now that has everything to my knowledge. Let me move these two over. Everything that was shown right here. It says, you may have noticed we have not added anything related to the entity framework here. Yes, these are known as actually as POCOs, which means plain old C# class. P-O, or objects, I guess it is. Plain old C# objects, POCOs. All right. As it says, this expresses the domain entities with the properties. We'll add a DB context class next so that we can interact with the database using the entity framework. So, we again we want movie DB context. I think I did that correctly. We're going to make the following changes in the file. First, we want to use the system.data.entity. Now, again, you've heard me say this kind of thing before. They're all gray. And so is that one, because we're not using it yet. We will use it in just a moment. Is our namespace correct? Yes, it is. We want to add the code that you see under, I think that'll do it. Now, what are we adding? Well, the first thing we want to add is we want this to inherit from DB context. All right? And then in there, this basically, for lack of better words, this is the way I refer to it. It may or may not be the correct way. But what we're doing here is we're saying we're going to have a set of movies, a set of actors, and a set of roles. Now, that said, those sets may be empty, and they are right now. Those sets may have 0, 1, or more records in them. We're not going to worry about that right now. But let's do a file, save all, because I don't believe we've saved in a while. And let's jump back into here. All right, let's check our time. We're at 9:33, and I want to see where we are in here. There's a total of 10 pages in this chapter, and we're on the bottom of page 7. So this may run a little longer, but I think I'm going to try to fit it into one lesson. Now we want to display the list of movies when the action method is accessed. Please note that no database is created till now for this application. Let's see what happens when we proceed to update the index method to do the same. So I'm going to grab the entire index method that's shown right here, and I'm going to replace the index method we currently have in our movie controller with this. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that, replace it with this. All right, you've seen this before where we get the errors. So we're going to have to fix that. So I take my mouse, put it on here, click, and we need to add, come on, the using our models. All right, what does that mean? Notice the error went away, and we've got this using up here. All that meant was we want to be able to use the stuff in our models folder. All right. Okay. Get rid of that. In the code above, we are getting the list of movies using an instance of MovieDB context. The link method, and we'll talk a lot about the link in this class, db.movies.toList will generate SQL for us, and we'll try to run it against the database. But, as it says here, the database does not exist. As it does not exist, the entity framework should create a new database for us. It says, please note that in the roles table there is a foreign key to both the actors and the movies tables. All right. Once we fetch the data from the database, we hope to view it. All right. The following code in the action method, which right here says we want to return that list of movies. In index.cshtml, we are defining the model type that we would be sending from the action of the controller. Then we use this model variable, says note the capital M. Okay. Here we're just looping through the movie list using the for each razor code. It says, as we don't have any data in the database, no titles will be displayed. Okay, let's see if we've got this information in there. That's what we want in our index.cshtml file. All right, it's not showing it there. Let's grab what we have, and as I've done several times, comment that out, and then paste this in. All right. We're finished with a chapter because it says now in the next chapter we'll discuss how to insert data into this. So we will come back momentarily with part 10 of 12 where we will discuss CRUD operations, and I'll be back with that shortly.